Sweetcheeks, cuddlebutt, sweetie pie, darlin', honey. Which of these do you hate the most? Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Naked Truth. Trisha Hershberger here. Sorry we didn't have a Naked Truth for Thanksgiving. I was in New Mexico, and it wasn't appropriate to film a Naked Truth at my in-laws' place. But I hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving. I certainly did, and I got to explore Albuquerque, which was very cool. Before we jump into this week's topic, I want to thank our Naked Army vloggers from last week who all got extra vulnerable to talk about does size matter? And that's Nathan, Colin, Kavaja, Lawrence, Prescott and Kristen, Richard, Jab, and James. So thank you guys. And if you want to check out their Naked Truth vlogs, you can do that by clicking the links in the description below. So this week's topic comes to us from Antipathy17, who said, what pet name that a stranger has called you has peeved you the most? Examples, honey, baby girl, sexy, etc. So I thought this was an interesting one to discuss, mostly because I've probably changed opinions on this over the years. I question that because I don't know that I've officially changed positions on this. I walk the line. And so I am not going to come out and give the typical answer of our generation, which I feel is, I absolutely hate pet names. They drive me crazy. I feel like they're demeaning, sexist, etc. That's not really my opinion. I grew up in a family that was incredibly loving and showed that to excess. So a family that hugged a lot, that called each other sweetheart all the time, honey, darling, baby, etc. And so for me, that always came as a sign of affection, a sign of, you know, I'm here looking out for you. And so yes, it is an assumed familiarity, but in a perfect world, wouldn't it be nice to assume that we're friends with everyone, even strangers? So, for example, when I was waiting tables, I waited tables for Disney for years. It was very easy for me to flip into the habit of, oh, sure thing, sweetheart, I'll bring that right out to you. Not even thinking about it. It wasn't something I did particularly to men or to women or to people that were taller than me or shorter than me. Kind of everyone across the board got the same treatment. And because I was coming from the opinion of, I am here for this next hour or 2 hours or however long you're here. I am here in service to you. I'm here to take care of you. And so because of that, that felt like the right thing to say to me. Now, over the years and over my understanding of where other people are coming from, I understand that some people really don't like being called those names. And it happened to me once at this job where I was waiting tables. A woman who was older than me wrote on the back of the receipt, just so you know, it's incredibly rude to speak to a woman who is older than you and call her sweetheart. And she was very offended. And I made a point to go up to the woman and say, you know, I'm so sorry that you were offended. Please understand that wasn't my intent. And she kind of like was huffy and walked away. But it really made me think about at that time, you know, why is it that I say that or other people say that? And now on the other side of the coin, there have been times when people called me sweetheart or honey, and I felt like they were doing it in a condescending or demeaning way. And whether they were doing that because of my size, because I'm short, whether they were doing it because they assumed that they were in a position of authority above me and could talk down to me, whether they were doing it just because I'm a woman and it came out of some kind of sexist feeling that they had, I don't know. And I try very hard not to assume the intent of the other person, but I can say that in those experiences, I did feel like it was a condescending tone and it did make me feel uncomfortable. And, you know, when I think about someone being called honey or baby girl or something like that in a workplace situation where your colleagues on an equal level, I could see where that would be, maybe not appropriate, even if it wasn't intended in an inappropriate way. So I guess what I'm saying is I can see both sides of the coin with this one. So I'm interested to hear what the Naked Army has to say. You know, on some level, I'm sure a lot of people feel like that's something that's reserved for a very close family member or my partner in a very intimate relationship, and strangers shouldn't have that assumed familiarity with me. And I understand that me saying back to the beginning of this, that maybe that assumed familiarity is an overly idealistic thing that comes from a good place. I really don't know. So my default nowadays, I really don't say that nowadays, A, because I'm not in the service industry anymore, but also because I do understand that it offends people. And if it offends people, then I don't want to be the person who offends. So I've kind of scaled that back a bit. I think it has to do a lot with where you were raised and the culture you came from and whether that's a normal thing or not. And again, I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say, being that you come from all over the world, all different backgrounds, and what seems normal to you, what doesn't seem normal to you, what may offend you or make you feel closer to someone. And also, if we say these things to people and it offends them, then why is it okay to say it in a closer relationship? I don't know. These are all things I would like to explore, and I'd love to hear you guys explore. So my question to you guys this week is, what is the worst, best pet name you've ever been called or used to someone else? And I say worst, best because, it all depends on your viewpoint of whether pet names should be used or not. And it just occurred to me, by pet names, I did not mean Fido or Fluffy, but those are probably awesome pet names too. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up the Naked Truth this week with that. And if you guys want to make Naked Truths of your very own, like Jab, who's a new Naked Army member this week. Yay, welcome Jab. If you want to make your own, you can film it using anything you like, upload it to YouTube, and then share it with me using the For Business Inquiries link in the About section of this channel. And just let me know if you want me to share it with everybody or just keep it private between you and me, and that's fine too. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Actually, I'll see you before that. I have a tech video going up Monday, and then I'll see you next week with more Naked Truth. Okay, bye guys.